We return. It's actually been a couple of days for me, so got to get back in the groove. Remember what we're up to. Bertelf here. We are, of course, at the upper areas. I remember now, where previous patch we saw a centaur staring down at us. As we opened this episode, they did talk a little bit about some new creatures. This is actually a really good release, if I remember. There's so many things that are going on. I've just rewatched one of the developer streams with all of their backstory and stuff, and it's reminded me of all the cool stuff we've got upcoming. But yes, the centaurs. Now, what's quite interesting here is that these centaurs are not trying to kill us. Yeah, funnily enough, if you think back to all our experiences with centaurs in the core game, and indeed even through Season 1, they're all pretty vicious. They're all pretty angry. Maybe there were a couple of allied ones, rarely. Maybe bosses or hero challenges you'd speak to before then they try and beat your face in. Well, these centaurs aren't so bad. Let's also remember that the pale tree, ever the pale tree, is something worth thinking about lately. But remember that it was planted by a human and a centaur. The centaur being Ventari, obviously, who wrote his tablet. Well, that centaur was kind of an oddity. He was a very peaceful centaur. And, well, he came from deeper in this area. In fact, in the original game, there's a place called Ventari's Refuge, which is where you very, very first meet him 250 years ago. And then he ends up over here by the end of the story, and that's where he spends the rest of his life between the games. So let's see what these centaurs are like. Are they related to Ventari, his tribe, or whatnot? Well, let's see. So we got Neri Freemane.
Act, but always with wisdom.
She says, all around us, the people of Glint have fallen from the sky. It's our tribe's way to welcome outsiders, and we welcome you. You'll find our refuge ahead, just around the bend. Wait, hold on, what is this place? You're in the uplands of Drytop, my friend. Few who have come this way in a very long while, and yet you have arrived just as those in need have dropped here as well. Something has changed. We say, I wondered, do you ever remember seeing a strange woman come this way, with mechanical servants carrying her supplies? I mean, some of the bodies of them are strewn just over there. I don't remember this woman you seek, but I once saw a headless metal beast abandoned in the upswept wastes and wondered where it come from. What is this place? And then we go back to this. Okay, so maybe we can keep tracking Scarlet. We can find these things. And I think, actually, when we walked up, we got the cutscene. I think this person... Oh, no, this wasn't a part of the story, but you'll notice that we do have a green starburst here, and it will keep moving as we travel along the Treadrock Uplands here. Let's see what we've got. This Peacekeeper here, running along. Maguma Peacekeeper, you'll see. So, definitely centaurs unlike those we've met before. We get our first new waypoint since the original 2. This was not available when the game first came out. And you do get a bit of a choice of different directions to go. First, let's just see the scout and see what they have to say. This is Avish Greatleap.
We welcome you, as we have welcomed the unfortunate fallen from the sky. Our desire and duty is to aid them wherever we can. Our tribe tends a sacred oasis and protects it from invading threats. Lately, however, we are seeing an incursion of hostiles who call themselves Inquest. Also, something is attracting the Mordrum to our region. My advice to you, be wary of dust twisters, stay clear of the Queen of the Skrit, and be well.
The Queen of the Skrit. Now, that is not necessarily a big thing in the story. It's an event that you can go for while the sandstorm is up, and indeed, not just while the sandstorm's up, but quite late in the sandstorm too. As a sandstorm blows over, it disturbs different creatures and different people over time, and you can, if you do lots of sandstorms, you can start to predict which event will trigger here, which event will trigger here, and so on and so on and so on. The Queen is one of the later ones in the sandstorm, in an area that scout unfogged, but we haven't actually traveled to yet, and we'll have to do for ourselves. So yeah, we get that. We get a paper scrap, which is handwritten, and it's torn from a journal. It says, our survey expedition arrived here from the Priory in 1327 AE, just after the Zephyrite airships fell from the sky. Now, hold on, I might be forgetting. I think when this patch first came out, you could find some NPCs here. Like, literally, 1327, that's right now. The Zephyrite's fallen out of the sky. I think we weren't the only adventurer. There were some other people. And again, this is a bit like the town having been destroyed. It changed as the patches went along. Let me be clear as well, by the way, guys. It was the start of this episode that the town got destroyed. Right when Drytop released, the first couple of videos of this season, it was fine, and now it's been destroyed, and the quaggan that was there was killed, and everything you see here. So, but yeah, I think the first time we came here, there were some NPCs, and they like traveled with us as the season went along. And every time the ArenaNet moved them physically in the game world, they leave a scrap of paper behind, which is, oh frick, many years later in real world time is what he's seeing. So anyway, handwritten and torn from a journal, our survey expedition arrived here from the Priory in 1327 AE, just after the Zephyrites fell from the sky. From our camp here, we interviewed the Zephyrite survivors and the peaceful, welcoming Centaurs of Restoration Refuge here in the uplands of Drytop. We haven't seen any Zephyrites here just yet. I think there's some injured ones maybe in the Centaur camp. Savio, one of their band, I guess, had gotten to know a villager from Prosperity. Well, before she was killed in the Mordrum attack on that mining town in Prospect Valley. He took her loss very hard. We've continued up into the cliffs. Remember us to Ergen Cragstrider and take care. Explorer Kitabu with Explorers Savio and a Max Stealer. Yeah, they had a friggin' Hylic with them. How cool is that? I always struggle with Hylic pronunciation, but they did. And yeah, they were pretty cool. They had a little bit of idle dialogue. It's kind of interesting to see how they've moved on. So over here, we can find a lost coin. And I do want to point out that there's kind of... There, it looks like it plays an animation when you pick the coin up. But I cancel cast it. These coins, okay, are the Uplands coins. They're different to the ones we were doing before. You notice this is the second one. We've already missed one. There's another 30 in this next part of the map. So the ones you find here in the opening parts, there's 30. And now there's another 30. So what you're going to get a sense of, guys, is... Drytop is quite unique as far as Guild Wars 2 maps goes. The way that the developers implemented it and added so many new achievements each time, it's really, really dense with things to do and see. And what is always true about Living World going forwards is that the more you are invested in all those extra achievements like the coins and stuff, the more value you get out of each time you get a new episode. Really, by a long way. Like, maxing these episodes out takes a lot of work. In fact, remember in the story journal, I showed you that once we beat it, right now I'm doing Entanglement for the first time. So you see there's no icon to the right of the green text. But for Gates of Maguma, which we have beaten, we see an achievement icon. And when I mouse over it, it says you've completed the episode, but replay it to do more achievements. If you get all of the achievements, that icon will change again to say you have truly completed. Like, there's different levels of beating a patch. A lot of people think it's just do the hour to 2-3 hours of story and that's it. But if you want to truly complete it, it's about getting this icon done as well, which means finding all the stuff, which can take a lot and take you to all kinds of areas of the map you didn't know about. Anyway, one of the coins is here. You'll notice we can sneakily go this way, take the crystal, and keep moving. There are still crystals in this section of the map, and Zephyrite and all that. But yeah, okay, so I'm going to just go the normal way, which is where the story wants me to go for now. And maybe not attack too much wildlife in the meantime. It says to enter the Raptor Prowl. To find the next point, the Raptor Prowl. I think that's just the next area of the map. So it is night at the moment. I think it'll be day in Tyria soon. You should see the sunrise in Drytop. It's a really cool map. This is honestly one of my favorite maps in the game. It really is. Because what you're looking at right now, where it's very dark and cold, is going to look very different when the sun is up. And very different again when there's a sandstorm. All these places have like 4 dramatically different appearances based on just how much light there is and so on. I think there's lots of coins and stuff out amongst those drakes and these beautiful red rock cliffs that stretch miles into the sky. There's just something about this type of desert and aesthetic that I really, really enjoy. But we'll talk to the Centaurs first because, hey, there'll be dialogue here. So there's a scout outside the entrance. Good to see you. And like I said, yeah, some wounded Zephyrites. I'm sure they all have lots of interesting things to say. Get some lancers, shamans, more peacekeepers. A couple of bugs around, but nothing too big of a deal. And I think you find a kind of a new feature on the map here as well, which will be interesting for me to show. We have Cirrus here.
Now is all we have, and it's enough.
We owe our lives to Ergen. We'd have been lost in the waste without the hospitality of his tribe. So that's he's the leader of the tribe, I suppose. That's not the first time we heard the name. And here he is. He's standing next to this tree. One thing that's quite interesting, I alluded to it in the previous episode. There is lore about the Centaurs having these really special, powerful ancestor trees. You can learn a lot about it in Guild Wars 1 Nightfall. I do have a playlist for that if you guys want to check it out. I did a special video on it back then where it was a side quest. And when we met Ventari in Guild Wars 1, he was at a place called Ventari's Refuge, which had a big tree at it, a giant tree. And now here, in Drytop, for Guild Wars 2, there's like a stub of a tree growing with the Centaurs tending to it again.
You will only find true peace within yourself.
And look, they sound like Ventari. So who are you guys? He says, I'm at your disposal, friend. In my experience, your tribe is singularly hospitable and generous. He says, I regret the sad truth of your words. We have worked to distance ourselves from the violent history of our people. Well, what can you tell me about your tribe's history? Our people's ancestors once roamed the Maguma jungle. We parted ways with the tribe you would call the Harathi and followed the setting sun to reclaim the peaceful old ways of our forerunners. I wish I could do his accent, really, as I read this out here. It's very cool. So, yeah, the way of the setting sun, they're going out west. And the Harathi, humans are more than familiar with. We can say, why are you helping the Zephyrhites? He says, it is our duty to nurture and preserve the lives of others as we would our own. Compassion for those we chance to encounter is one of our oldest tenets. So very nice. Tenets? Shouldn't that be tenants? Is that a typo? Are they missing an N there? Or am I a stupid person? Let me know in the comments. Well, what else can you tell me? We already clicked this one. So the last option is this. The thing we really want to ask, and Ulfric knows, he's a great conversationalist. He says, are your people followers of Ventari?
Endings lead to beginnings.
Are your people followers of Ventari? He was a peaceful Maguma centaur who shared his tenets with the Silvari. I guess it's just tenets. Why do I think it's tenant? And unfortunately, he says, I do not know of this Ventari. Though his words do echo our old ways, perhaps we had in common forerunners in the Maguma jungle. Well, there you have it. So it's kind of really ridiculously peaceful here, if you think about it at the moment. You've got the Centaurs here, super peaceful Centaurs, interacting with Zephyrhites, also super peaceful. But they've kind of all hit this horrible, you know, impasse for themselves. So they do have like a banner with a special icon of exactly what they, you know, that represents them, I guess. I doubt you'll find that banner from those Centaurs anywhere else. And we could do a bit more exploring, like I say, for more coins. What I really want to do, though, is point out there's another vendor. It's the same kind of vendor that we met at the start.
Our lives and each other.
But she has extra dialogue. She says, I have a steady flow of supplies now, so I can offer decent rates on a variety of items. What can I do to help? Help people in the area, she says. We can open up the options. Do you have anything that holds magic water we can ask? And she says she does. Now, I think this is just to do with an extra item and a back piece that you could go for as the season went along. I guess she says, I just received some magical centaur vessels. I guess I could take it. Yeah, we get this empty vial. And it can be filled with oasis water. There is an oasis later. I guess I'll keep this with me. Ulfric, the curious as ever, but I guess we'll see. Now, as for the vendor as well, we do have some geodes now. So you can spend geodes on lockpicks to open more chests, as and when we found them. We haven't found a single one yet. We're not really adventuring in the Sandstorm as much. You can find recipes for special weapons. There's a whole weapon set here. They're of exotic quality when you craft them. But first, you need a lot of geodes to get the recipe. And then you need to craft it. And crafting it is its own thing as well. And there's a bunch of special foods and thing for the back piece I was just talking about a second ago. So we won't worry about that for now. Let's just sell our junk to free up our inventory space. The other feature is this character here, an Asura. Not an Inquest, though we know that they're in the area. By the way, I never mentioned, in the previous episode, can you see this point of interest? There's a whole Inquest base. It's just an optional area that you can go down with all kinds of events. I guess the story never takes you to it, but we have glimpsed them coming out of a door here. This is like the big Inquest base of the area. It's very close to Brisbane, but it is connected to Dry Top, and they come out and attack every now and then. We just hadn't seen it, I guess. Anyway, there's a regular story here.
How interesting.
It's good to see you. Careful where you step. This area is teeming with exotic insect fossils. In fact, should you encounter any specimens, bring them to me for identification. So we can tell him we found one, and you'll see he's a vendor. So, there's an ambrite fossilized butterfly, termite, millipede, devourer, grub, dragonfly, cockroach, bee, mantis, spider, beetle, mosquito, hornet, centipede, firefly, and cricket. Now, what you do, basically, is as you travel this map and you open chests, sometimes you find unidentified fossilized insects. You take it to him, and he'll identify it for you, and it can be any of these insects. You basically get to pick. So, with those insects, you can use them along with these recipes for geodes. Which tab was it? It was tab 2. Any of them. You can use it with these to craft special insect weapons, ambrite weapons. And so, you see when we read millipede a second ago? Or, you know, whatever, butterfly, like Blattodile. I think that's like the Latin, like the formal genus or whatever name for the specific insect that it is. And basically you're making weapons named after all those insects, and they look like they're encased in amber. It's a very cool set. It would take Ulfric a long time to get them all. There's a rare collection in the game for finding them all. It's a big part of playing Dry Top, basically. Playing in the sandstorms, getting geodes, trading them in, hoping to get lucky with unidentified insects, and going on. So that's really where you do the trading for it. And I just wanted to point out, since we're not really going to come back here, not to this little camp, there's not much going on. Anyway, look, the sun's up, and we've checked out the area. Let's keep going. I've taught you guys a little bit of something. I'm actually going to turn Entangling Roots off again. I know that it kind of helps with our condition damage, but Rampage gives us swiftness, which helps us move, which I kind of like, wow, it's such a thick effect as well. Hadn't really noticed that before. So, yeah, we can kind of go the high ground here and get a glimpse of the next section, which is one of the cooler areas of Drytop, I think. I'm not sure I'm going to say it's my favorite area, but I have a lot of happy memories of this place. It's kind of... Oh, my God. We freaking quick shot ourselves well over the edge there. It's all right. Alison can just deal with those, and then I'll pet swap in a minute. It's an enormous valley. Like, I remember the first time I ever explored this and just thinking how unbelievably tiny I felt. I'm a Norn, and look at how small we feel. I feel like an ant in, like, cracked earth, like, looking up at some enormous world around me that I could never really understand. There was nothing in Core that was really at this scale. Maybe you can say those giant golden archways now fallen in ore were this high, but they weren't so, like, everywhere. Like, this was incredible to see, and it's so captivating, even today, to look back. What I'm really happy to say is, as the game goes along, you're going to find vistas and places like this all over the place. The maps just get so big and so grand and so epic. It's unbelievable. And what's really fun about Drytop is because these crystals are around, we actually have the capability of moving and getting around those areas without having really tiny jumps the whole time. We can actually get some pretty good height and explore them. It's funny, one of the biggest things, that was our 10th Raptor ever, wow. One of the biggest things that ArenaNet are going to start really focusing on as the game goes along is the idea, again, make sure we move behind this guy, is the idea of freedom of movement, right? And they really start taking it seriously. It's funny, as I watch them in their streams talking about the game as they release it now, they're already talking about it. At this point in Drytop, they enjoy that idea of freedom of movement and what you can do and where it kind of begins. So, in addition to lost coins that are on the map, such as this one here, it might be interesting for you guys to know that there is also a very hidden llama. Now, llamas are not ambient creatures we've seen anywhere in the game. They're not like, you know, little mosquitoes that you can find. They're not enemies we've fought anywhere in the game. However, llamas do exist in Guild Wars 2. And in fact, I can demonstrate to you with the minis tab. A lot of them you can get as rewards from PvP stuff, right? So we're not going to worry too much, but I'll just show you what a generic llama looks like, maybe. Like, so here's a black llama, right? Llamas are in the game, but it's really hard to find them, ever. Drytop has one llama. I think it's just one hidden llama. It's called the Legendary Llama. I think the devs explained it was like made by an intern or something who did a really good job, but they didn't really have anywhere to put it. So it's hidden in the corner of this area. It's like up here. Maybe it's near that POI. How do you get over to that? But what you have to do is scale these walls. Can you see that crystal all the way up there? You need to like worm your way all the way up, use that crystal, and do a really tricky jump to find the llama up in that corner. It's crazy, honestly. Lots of fun, and I would try it, but I'm really scared Ulfric will die, and I'm trying to not die really hard, trying to not get defeated here. I'm going to be miserable the second it happens. It hasn't happened so far, so I'm not going to try it, but that was one of the hidden things on the map that, you know, people as they hunt for their coins would often look for. But if you're using just the wiki, you might not know about. I mean, I think there's an achievement to find it anyway, so maybe you would know. In any case, we're going to keep traveling through. We're following the sun, right? Or the setting sun, I guess. We missed a little bit of dialogue from that person up there, Musa Sandskin. I like that name. You know, I thought that the Centaur names were a little bit similar to Char names in that their tribe, like, always had the same word in it every time. But I guess not. We found all kinds of names here. So, Musa Sandskin. It says, follow the canyon to the west and you'll arrive at a lush oasis. The great tree at the heart of our village is sustained by its waters. Yeah, so how are they even growing a big tree like that? It's not that big. I mean, it's getting there, I guess. But it's over at the end of this big old canyon here that is just long enough to feel kind of desolate as you're traveling through. What's also nice is if you are so minded... We'll make sure we actually ding this. It seemed quite precise that I stand there. I don't know whether it was really important. But there you go. Now we need to cross the... Uplands to the next point on Scarlet's map. They were nice enough that you can get a bunch of these crystals, which obviously will zoom you through the area. We could stop and grab that vista, which I kind of really want to do. In the core series, I was giving you guys vistas at the start of every single episode, as you've seen, but this time, we're not going to have that many vistas around, so I'm just going to try and grab whatever ones we can as our adventure is progressing. This one shouldn't be too bad. We can grab that blue crystal and get up. I really want to get it in the next 3 minutes, 30 seconds as well, though, because my eye keeps getting drawn to the meta event information, and you'll see a sandstorm will blow in. Let me tell you guys, when the sandstorm's going on in this area, you can hardly see anything. Like, anything. This is actually one of the worst vistas in the game when a sandstorm is live, because the camera's, like, panning through, it's tracking through all this stuff, and you just can't see anything. It's just dust in your eyes, that's it. It's magnificent, gorgeous, beautiful dust for all to see. Not that impressive. Here we go. We got in combat because we are a ranger, and our pet being in combat often means we're in combat. Not exclusively so, but often. Anyway, we can shoot him down. That was kind of cool, actually. That's like a cool rangery moment. I'm on a ledge while they're below. All right, so here, check it out. You can see the bats over there. Oh, look at this. I love it when we see other players as vistas are going on. How cool is that? Oh, he disappeared. He might have waypointed, I think, while he was flying there. Obviously, we see him on a great beast, and throughout all the videos I've done, you've seen people riding magnificent creatures. We will get there, but Ulfric is a long way from such things. We're going to pretend that it's right at the start, and everyone's just, you know, having their normal experience where they can use crystals. To be honest, the mounts that eventually will come kind of invalidate this map in a really big way, because anything that would be interesting or fun to do with a crystal, a mount kind of just does way, way, way better, and there's no restrictions on. So this is one of the things I really like. I like playing it through as it was released, as the devs first expected you to play it, because you're going to get a good experience out of that. Get some basilisks too. They were quite rare in the original game. I think the devs were quite careful about making sure stuff they hadn't used much before gets a look in now, you know. All right, so here we go. Here's the oasis. When that sandstorm blows in 1 minute, 40 seconds now, the oasis will actually be relatively unharmed by it. Maybe one of the reasons why stuff can still grow, which is pretty good. You see, we get a shaman here. He says, the dust mites have invaded our water source. Will you accompany to recover our oasis? I guess. All right, he's going into the oasis itself. What I really wanted to do is climb to the top of this waterfall where there is a hero point, hero challenge. Now, these are actually still important to get. If you guys are playing through alongside me, I would still recommend you look for them, because while Ulfric right now has more hero points than he could ever want, once the expansions start coming out, we get into that content, you're going to want them again, and the more in excess you have of simply being level 80, the better. So, if you're a player that has 100% completed all of Corteria. Now, if you remember, on my original series, out of all the hundreds of hours that adventure was... Damn, do I need to go even higher? I do. We can see on the minimap that there's that little up arrow next to the icon. Damn, I needed to climb more. I guess we'll go try that again. Sandstorm in 30 seconds, oh god. I think we should be okay here, to be honest. Jesus, the crystal's so far away, though. Maybe if I take both crystals... I can use this one to close the gap to the waterfall a bit faster. That might be a really good idea. Yeah, if you have 100% completion, which bear in mind I had barely any from all those videos I did before. If you have that, then... there we go. All right, we can refresh the timer now with this one. And the ammunition count. You'll be all right, but as far as I'm concerned, I still got a lot to do. All right, so there it is. So we're going to move along. Oh, no full damage. Okay, we're all right. Woo! And you hear the audio got a bit menacing there. That's mostly because the sandstorm just came. So the lush greenery and occasional soft rains of this oasis are a pleasant change from the scouring dust of the surrounding region. Commune with a place of power. I'm in combat again. Alson, is Bertolf is fighting something up there. All right, so hero challenge complete. I still didn't look up. And we get the one with nature trait proc there. We just splatter earth all over the source of the waterfall. Lovely. I still didn't check it. What pets we can get. Here you go. The falling water is cool and clear. Would you like to fill your empty centaur vessel with the water? Sure. So now we have a vial of mending oasis water. The waters of the Maguma jungle are famous for having inherent healing powers. Now, that little bit of flavor text we heard there is again a reference to Guild Wars 1, where when you walked in pools like this, because this right now, what we've got is kind of a very Guild Wars 1-y thing. You're between large crags of barren red cliffs, and there's waters flowing between them. Except in the original game, if you were in a situation like this, and you could be in a situation exactly like this, you'd be getting healed as well. You get a little bit of health regeneration. That's not so true in Guild Wars 2, but they do have a reference to it. But yeah, look back there. Imagine we were looking at Vista, you'd just be looking... Like, it'd be even less detailed than you're looking at here, honestly. So yeah, let's fire another quick shot behind ourselves to give ourselves a little bit more swiftness. And as you see, when we move into the oasis itself, it's not so affected. It's one of those safe places. Pretty cool. It looks like I triggered this event with this shaman and another player in the area. This player here, this Char, with crazy Char hair, has actually pushed most of the event for us. The sad thing is, I might not really be able to get any credit for the event unless I can find something to kill. But it looks like the players have dealt with it most. There's a load of them over there. I think this is basically a defense, a wave assault defense. Can I do anything? I wonder if I drop a healing spring on this guy. Can I trigger the healing spring in any way? Maybe bring the firefly over? If I get a condition on me, it would then apply regeneration and I might get a tag. I don't think I'm going to get any credit for this, guys. I think it's just going to get done because we didn't actually help. Let's see. Yeah, I was wondering if we'd get bronze, but we did not. And so you'll see the shaman has actually made it rain here as well. So there's a very weird experience right now where we have a sandstorm over there that you can see little bits of it billowing away. And then in this little pocket of this desert, there's blue rains. It's really nice. I like it a lot. Anyway, so they move on. And players, of course, like to do that because it gets them geodes and stuff. Dynamic events are much more rewarding to do on this map than in other core Tyrian maps where they were just sort of stuff you did for experience and karma. You don't really need experience anymore. People here were at level 80. Yes, you were getting spirit shards, but was it that big of a deal? Not really, so you get this extra reason now. They start tying more things into event rewards, and then, you know, the whole unidentified insect weapons and all that other stuff. In fact, I'll point out that all the legendary crafting that will come later, like the precursor crafting, uses currencies from this map, which is why even here in 2020, you're going to find people on Drytop all the time. It's one of the more visited maps in the game. It's just so well made. Both of the Season 2 maps are exactly like that. Because Drytop is not all we will see. By the way, they added cactus as well. I remember being really excited about this when Drytop came out. Oh, we need to get Ulfrix and better stuff. That's what we should spend our geodes on. Something about this just feels good to me. Like right now, I'm also playing, I'm not making videos of it or anything, but I'm playing an expansion to the game Monster Hunter World. And they take you to like an icy place filled with snow. And one thing that I really like about exploring there is I find all these new ingredients and things in the area that I can gather. And I felt exactly the same years ago when Drytop came out and I saw these cactus specifically, because it's like it's a cool new type of node, right? That was nowhere in core. You couldn't find cactus before. And yet here it is. Here's some classic ones as well, you know, cabbage and lettuce and stuff. Maybe we're good enough to get these with this terrible harvesting tool. Yeah, we can get some lettuce, I guess. But yeah, finding this, and I think you get like, what are they called? Nopals out of it. And there are new like chefing recipes with the new stuff you can do too. That kind of stuff is what really gets me. And the more meaningful it is in the game, the better. Wow, we got a Norn here. Does he live here? He just says, sorry, Commander, maybe you should invest in expanding our supply line. Ah. Okay, so this guy, here's what the game says. You found a packed supply network agent. Train the supply lane management mastery to gain access. So that's something we'll only get when masteries become available. So don't worry about that just yet. But basically, this guy and many other people travel around the world supplying the pact. Tomorrow, real time, real world, if I come back here tomorrow, he'll be gone. He won't be here. It'll be someone else somewhere else in the world. There's like 3 of them. They roam around. We just happen to get lucky here. And players will go to travel to this guy. You see this player here, for example, this Tempest guy? He came over, he'll buy something because they're usually worth visiting each day and then they move on. It's not a feature I really use much, but hey. We also get some new stuff here as well, the cultivated seed flower. But I think we'll deal with those later, like way down the line. So don't worry about that. We're just following Scarlet's map for now and seeing all the beautiful, awesome, fun things that are going on. So, the Vine Bridges. Now, there is a dynamic event that can trigger right here that collapses these Vine Bridges so that you can't move up them. And indeed, we see 2 Vine Bridges. When this patch first came out, that Vine Bridge on the right... Jesus, let's do this. There's nothing more annoying than being in the middle of casting a stability-granting skill and then get dazed as you do it. This Vine Bridge here wasn't here. There was a plateau over there, and you were thinking, oh, can we go there eventually? But it wasn't available, right? Players couldn't go up there. So that wasn't here. And then there was only this bridge, which can be destroyed and taken away as certain events trigger. You see we're at a place called Azar's Arbor. There's a whole pit down here with stuff going on. There's a scrit hole. I think maybe a scrit can come out of this so you can chase and hit for damage, for loot. But basically, we've come here at the right point that the vine is actually here. And we're going to leave the oasis now, move back into the Sandstorm, which really is the whole map, I'm telling you. So we're really far away from where we entered now, and yet the Sandstorm still covers all of this. And we just travel on up. As for the other vine, let's pretend it's not there for now, but later it will be. There's something really cool and exciting about seeing places in this exact map that you might be able to go to later that hopefully they'll expand again. And it's kind of funny because some of the 2020 updates are basically going to be formatted the same way as Dry Top here, which is really, really cool. So anyway, we've made it to the next waypoint. This is the Vine Bridge. This was the last waypoint that they'd added at this point, I think. This place is always kind of cool to me, especially the Sandstorm, because I remember there are various like graphics enhancing overlay suites you can run for Guild Wars 2. And I once upon a time did a video about one of them. I think it was the Overwolf one, where I was tampering with the way that the Sandstorms look, and I recorded a video right here. And I always remember that when I come here. I don't know why, but specifically making that video. It's weird the things that you end up building connections to. There's not much reason to come up here, by the way. It just gives you another look at the oasis. I think if you drop down, there's lost coins. You can really get a sense of how they can hide 30 of them, right? Like, there's just so many different directions. I remember some people did dislike Dry Top because of this kind of linear, semi-linear explanation you go through. But I don't know. To me, I think this is my favorite kind of map, you know. Instead of just a big open field like Queensdale. You know, there's a certain sense of joy of exploration and freedom from a map like that I get. And most of the core game was like that. But to me, this is really where it's at. So what do we got here? A strange cube. What looks to be the component of a larger machine of Asuran design lies where it fell in the sand. So we know that the Inquest were around here. But what else have we seen of large Asuran design machines? Well, only one. And that was in Scarlet's like mini base of operations back at the copper mining town of Prosperity. Remember? There was the blueprint on the wall. Is this a part of that? I guess we'll see. There's a crystal. Now, why would I want this crystal? I'm not sure. We move into another desert plateau. We are traveling sort of back towards the start of the map here. But we are on a different plateau. We are in basically a different desert, an isolated one, higher up than before. This is where you can find the Script Queen that was mentioned earlier. And coincidentally, we actually seem to have got to this about near the end of the Sandstorm, so you never know. Ah, there's also a giant over there. Now, have I ever killed a giant for you guys? Giants are really rare, and whenever you find them, they're nearly always champion or legendary. They have insane crowd control. They have fears, they have knockbacks, they have blowouts. That stomp, for example, almost hit me. Jesus, a dust mite. They are super dangerous. They could even one-shot Ulfric, to be honest. They're very, very scary. In fact, we can look at our pet's health. Look, one attack. And if the pet eats that attack, it's not good. We want to try and stand behind him. And you'll see there's a huge number of players standing here right now trying to kill this giant here. When the Sandstorm goes away, he won't be angry anymore and he'll leave. So you only get a limited amount of time to do it. This is pretty nice. This is a nice little experience, again, of what it was like maybe to be in awe or something with all of the pacts. In fact, I see some of my own guild members over there. That's really cool. I don't actually think that I have Ulfric repping the guild, which makes me kind of sad. I should totally chat with them. They'll be really happy to see they just randomly in the video. People don't know right now that I'm recording this or that what character I'm on or anything. So, yeah, that's kind of cool. Here you go. Now, you see all these messages? We're in the last 10 minutes of the Sandstorm, so a lot of stuff has happened. There's a chicnado, like a tornado filled with chickens back in the area we were at earlier. Very funny events. Which, by the way, again, speaking about an intern and the llamas, it's funny because they also describe how with this patch an intern made all these varieties of chickens that look really amazing, and they just had to do a release or something about it, and then the chicnado was born. This is really painful. You see that friggin' confusion, and he's just constantly throwing these rocks and things at us. It's horrible. Jesus. Almost freaking died. He's only got 2% health. We're almost there. Very nice. And we managed to defeat the Sandstorm, the giant, before the Sandstorm dissipated, and collect for ourselves quite a lot of geodes and nice things there. Very, very cool. All right, so what else have we got? Well, the game wants us to go down there, but I will show you the Script Queen chambers. There are a bunch of scripts snooping around. We haven't really interacted with them much. We saw a hole earlier. Oh, this event's up as well. Amazing. people are like really trying at the map. So here players, a guild, another player guild has dropped this banner, which just buffs all of my, you know, resource gains. And yeah, okay, so they've done all the events. Basically, they're moving on in here now to deal with this Skrit Queen here. The Skrit are really deadly. I don't know if you guys remember this. Maybe you haven't played for a while or you never really noticed it in the vanilla game. But Skrit are actually some of the more deadly enemies in Guild Wars 2. Often when you mouse over a Skrit, its flavor text will just say something like big damage, right? And they really mean it, big damage. They hit hard. And when you get a bunch of them scaled up by a huge zerg of players and their champions, yeah, you can just insta-die. Anyway, she's going to struggle here. That's a ton of players. And we managed to kill him. So we get Ruler of Shinies achievement. We get another mastery point, as yet unspendable. I mean, in theory, guys, there are, when we go to masteries, there are 2 ways you can spend masteries. On core stuff, like the Pact Agent I was shown before, or on Heart of Thorns stuff for the first expansion. But, and you could say, well, just do the core stuff now, but the whole thing doesn't unlock until you get to an expansion, so I am going to do it that way, as the game originally came out. It's kind of your call. Anyway, so the Skrit card, some of this Season 1 currency, Quartz. So Quartz was kind of rare and difficult to get, specific places like the Labyrinthine Cliffs, where the Zephyrite had come from. And there wasn't really any Quartz anywhere else in the game, really. So when Drytop came out, the devs added a new way of getting Quartz. Any time of the year. All you had to do, though, was make sure you took out these Skrit that were guarding their most cherished, shiny blue Quartz. And you can get that. If you get very lucky, I think you can get some charged Quartz out of that, too. The other important thing about killing those is bumping the map up. We're at tier 4 already, and I'm sure people can go do some of those other events. I'll show you here as well through the mini-pets. There is a mini-pet version of the Chickenado. Can you see that? It's like a tornado with chickens floating around in it. But imagine a giant one, like 3 times the height of Ulfric. And it's a champion event where everyone's chasing the tornado, trying to get the chickens out of it and help them. That's what that event is. And it's over near that oasis that we were at before. Bit far away for us to go adventure to now, though. So, there you go. That's a bit of a tour through Drytop. We got really far here. There's even more going on, really. There's a hero challenge. That's not even the full map. And, in fact, we're about to go to a very special place down here following Scarlet's map on our pursuit of this ley line. So, we can see a broken steam minotaur. We're going to enter a cave in a second where we'll be safe from the sandstorm. And for the first time, we may really get to know what it means to see a ley line and be near one. That, however, guys, will be on the next part. So, thanks very much for watching. We've got some special stuff to see in a second. This is a big patch, this one, for sure. I'll see you there. Take it easy, guys.